Today we celebrate the memorial of St. John Vianney, who is the patron saint of all priests. And so, of course, special day for me. But when we look at St. John Vianney, we look at his life. Here's a man who was born, I forget if it was just before or during the French Revolution, but basically he grew up where, priests were under attack and being killed. And then eventually, when the French Revolution ended, there were so few priests around, and he ended up having to, it was hard to go and find a place where they could find Mass. That doesn't sound familiar. But when he finally felt his call and he went, he was inspired by a priest to help him, but he went to seminary and he failed miserably. He couldn't get Latin, and of course back then all the classes were taught in Latin, and he really, really struggled through school to the point where they said, well, this guy has no opportunity to become a priest. But this priest took him under his wing and walked with him and taught him and mentored him, and eventually they did ordain him. As he gets sent to his pastorate in Ars, which was a nowhere place in the backwaters of France, and in fact, you couldn't get there. The trains didn't go there, and they don't go there today. He went, and the parish was basically falling apart. There were so few people that went to Mass at this point, and many of the people that did go to Mass were not really filled with any sort of zeal for the Lord. There was only a couple people. But St. John Vianney's prayer and his sacrifice reinvigorated that parish, and of course with that then he gained some mystical gifts from Almighty God so that he could read souls, and so he became this incredible confessor, so that he would spend up to 18 or 20 hours a day hearing confessions, to the point where so many people were coming to Ars, they actually had to build a line, a stop for the train to be able to come, because there were so many people heading to Ars. And then after St. John Vianney died, everyone going to Ars stopped, and so they stopped sending a train there. But we see in this man, he was not daunted by failure. He failed in school. While he was in seminary, they had pulled him out in order to be a soldier, and he failed as a soldier too. He failed in school, he failed as a soldier, and it seemed in the first several years of being a priest that he was failing in his parish. In fact, so much so that the other priests around him actually signed petitions to the bishop saying, "Get him out of Ars. We don't want him there anymore." That all stopped when the bishop got the petition and saw John Vianney's name on there as well. He signed the petition as well, saying, "Get him out of Ars." But the man, from a worldly perspective, for many years only experienced failure. But his eyes were on Christ. His eyes were on Christ, and now we look to him as the patron saint of priests. Here is the man we look to as he reinvigorated his parish. He brought people back to the Lord. He brought conversion, not only to the people of his parish, but thousands, maybe millions of others would go and visit him and to have him hear their confessions. So we look to St. John Vianney for the courage we need in our failures, because we're all going to fail. We all have failed. And if we failed many times in our lives, we'll probably continue to fail many times more. But failure is not the measure of who we are. God's love is the measure of who we are. And if God desires something, we don't have to say, well, I can do this or I can't do this. We just have to say, use me, Lord. Use me, Lord. I give you my yes, even though I have no abilities, even though I'm going to fail so many times on the way. He says, your yes is all I need. Your yes. So, my brothers and sisters, let us ask Almighty God, through the intercession of St. John Vianney, to keep our eyes fixed on Jesus, that we don't allow our failures to measure us, but only the love of Christ.